Good morning. So this will be a very short agenda video. Actually, in the last 2 days I was very tired, so I slept quite a bit more than usual, which is, doesn't mean much. You know that I don't sleep much in general, so it's not that bad to sleep a little bit more for a few days. Today I'll try to be more active. One of the problems is that when I do not walk outside, and you know that it's a long-time hobby and my favorite sport, and I've done it a lot, for many years. Now I'm under arrest during the last 10 or 9 months, so I almost never do it. But the problem is that one of the many problems is that because of the fact that I do not walk, I also become weak and lethargic and sleepy. So hopefully at least I'll be able to walk a little more soon. Of course, what I really need is a rescue from this hell that is called the State of Israel, using arms and legs, not mouths and tongues. But this is nothing new. Anyway, I will try to be more active today. So first of all, what I will do now is I will go to the grocery store because I need some groceries, which means that there will be a stop in the radiation for some time, maybe 24 hours. I don't know exactly how long, but just it might be helpful for some of you. So you can be happy about it or whatever. So I'll do it right away. I don't have much money left, but even a small amount that I have will be enough to buy toilet paper, some really basic things that I need. Regarding the radiation itself, so there's a question of how it affects me. And obviously, people always every day, are in Israel are hoping and praying that it will reset me. The mythological reset that never happened, and but they still hope. As they say, they wait for the Messiah to reset. And they also always find signs that it actually happened. He scratched his nose, he drank water. So I will buy. I need to remember to buy a carbonated water. Someone in the comments suggested to the blog to create to add carbonated water to the various mixtures. So I think it's a good idea, and it deserves a small container of its own, like a new container which will be based on water from the aquarium and salt and a little bit of carbonated water. Anyway, they always hope for the reset. So that no, it's not going to reset me, because if it would have done that many years ago. But I must say that when I shave my head, I always feel better. I don't know if it's psychological, but most probably it's not. It's actually a thing, a real thing. So my assumption is that this actually affects my the hair on my head, even if it's just just grow just a thinly grown hair. But maybe I don't know why. Maybe because there are bugs in there. Also it's microscopic things from the mattress or things like that. Mites that find its place, or find a place on your hair. So together with the radiation, it's kind of affects you in some way. I don't know. Anyway, so in these days, the radiation is getting larger and larger, I feel much better when I shave my head. But maybe it's psychological, who knows. Anyway, so the agenda will be, of course, to finally finish the robot saga. I know I should have done it maybe yesterday, but I was so tired, I don't know why. Anyway, I'll do today. And maybe even continue with the fairy tale before people forget about the previous chapters. So I mean, while it's still, I mean, they still like remember the previous chapters. We should finish the fairy tale. We have at least 2 more parts, like about an hour each, I guess. And another thing that I want to, of course, continue with the spaceship with sculpturing. And another thing that I would like to do today is, I mean, I want to do it for quite some time, like for a couple of days, but is resuming the fire experiments with the Crucible. The problem is that if I use strong fire, like with turpentine or things like that, I mean, it's burns very quickly, but but then it's kind of like stops. But so I mean, it's still, I mean, the better of the 2 options, because, and yes, we've seen great like amazing stuff that I mean the Neros have done, like the fly that, I mean, the alien fly that, I mean, that is still like, I mean, getting a lot of attention among the subscribers and many comments. So I'm kind of like inclined, because of the positive comments and the interest that it's stirred all around the world, I mean, I'm inclined to create more of these like advanced life forms, because as I said, worms are not a new issue. I mean, I created worms like, I mean, just, I mean, from the beginning, like from January or February, and even using like, you know, electrolysis. It was manifested that it's incredibly easy for the Neros to create worms, even like very small amount of Neros, much smaller, I mean, much smaller amount and much smaller Neros than the ones that I actually use now. Like, I mean, in many orders of magnitude smaller and smaller amount are enough, like, is enough to create worms, especially with electrolysis. It's not a problem for them to create worms, like, I mean, for many different materials, like from all sorts of, like, I mean, water solutions and then wax and, like, you know, it's like, I mean, it's very, I mean, just say it again, because, I mean, I understood that, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I understood that, I mean, at least one kind of theory among, like, I haven't thought about it because it's so ridiculous, but I mean, from the comments I understood that, I mean, at least one theory among the many that are, I mean, obviously are like, I mean, got some traction. I don't know how strong, but among, like, people in the various intelligence communities of the world, and that this kind of, like, theory, it was, I don't know how prevalent it was, but it was strong enough in order, like, to actually, like, bother the Titan females, and I have known, like, I don't, as I said, they are not in my side. I mean, I don't have any, like, inclination to do anything good for them. I mean, the Titan females in Israel, and of course in Israel, but not even abroad. Like, I mean, in Israel they are Nazis, and abroad, I mean, at best, I would say that they are apathic and ungrateful and clueless. But I mean, this is the best. But I mean, probably many of them are Nazis, like the Israelis, or something in between. But I mean, I didn't have anything positive to say about them, like, until now at all. And of course, they paid a lot of money to the Israelis for many years in order to torture me. But even though, I mean, I do understand that these people are subjected to extreme psychological terror, I mean, for many years, and I sympathize with that. Like, even though I think that many of them are evil, not especially in Israel, but also abroad, I said many times that I think that even bad people are, I mean, I mean, they deserve to know basic things about their nature and about their history. And this line of thought led me to speak, I mean, to start this robot series when I understood, like, the magnitude of ignorance that exists in this world regarding, like, the nature of the Titans, especially among the Titans themselves. But also, it also prompted me to actually, I mean, to tell you the fairy tale, which is something that I had in my mind since 2 years ago, but I always thought that I need to write it. But, you know, I never had, like, the opportunity to write it, because writing takes much more time than speaking, and now I don't even have a computer, like, since this arrest, I don't even have a desktop computer, and writing using the iPad is very, like, uncomfortable. So I decided, I mean, that since this fairy tale is important for the history of the Titans, then I should just, I mean, abandon the idea to write it, which I had in my mind since about 2 years ago, and instead just, I mean, tell it, like, I mean, tell it, and that's what I did, and hopefully I'll continue today or tomorrow at latest, and get it done, get it to like many chapters like recorded. Again, because I mean, I understood it. I mean, even if they are evil, I mean, even evil creatures deserve, like, I mean, the basic thing, which is to know, like, basic stuff about their nature and about their history, and the fact that, I mean, that they are subjected to so many lies, both intentionally and unintentionally, about their nature is cruelty. I mean, cruel and unusual punishment that they do not deserve, even if they are evil, and even if they deserve to die. I mean, they still do not deserve, like, I mean, to keep this kind of, like, I mean, limbo of, like, all sort of ridiculous ideas regarding their nature. So what now I understood, like, I mean, yesterday or the day before, that I mean, once I understood it, it became obvious to me, because, I mean, people of this world are so evil, and Israelis are so evil, but it's so ridiculous that I didn't think about it before. But now I understand that one of these kind of, like, ridiculous theories that got some traction is that the worms in the bodies of both the Titans and the Homo sapiens that drank the tea are actually, like, I mean, I don't know how to translate the word baka. In Hebrew word baka means, like, I mean, baka means that it a creature, that means the action of getting out of the egg of a living creature. That they came out of the eggs of the Titans that, I mean, presumably exist in the Titan bodies, but also in the bodies of the people that drank the tea. That sometimes, even though not exclusively, I mean, they take it from the menstrual cycle. Even though it should be said that it's not the only way to do it, and in the past it was very common for people abroad to actually take it from the pee. But there are some. I mean, it's also so secretive, and like different people do see different stuff, and no one remembers nothing. Like, I mean, the history is always, like, deleted, because no one remembers even basic stuff. I mean, that were known even 10 years ago. People just forget it or delete it or never remember it. So, not to speak about things that happened like 50 years ago, 60 years ago, that, I mean, no one has no clue about it, which is amazing, but that's the fact. So maybe people think that it's only come from the menstrual cycle, which is, I mean, you yourself, I mean, both in Israel and abroad, took it from the pea many times. And also in Israel it is and was for more than 100 years widely, like, common behavior to actually eat the flesh of the Titans, to cannibalize on them. So how come the egg theory, I mean, got any traction? I don't know, but I assume that some people abroad, I mean, are getting the tea or from the menstrual cycle, so they saw that these are actually the eggs. And actually, to some extent, it's correct that these creatures are, in some way, it's true that they are equivalent to the female human eggs, because they are used in when they are fertilized with the brown heroes or the yellow ones, my own, which can be act as brown heroes. Yes, they create babies, like, I mean, which is an equivalent of human fertilization in pregnancy. This is correct, but of course they are not, like, I mean, kind of a simple equivalent to the eggs, even just by the fact that they can be found in the pea, a widely known fact that all over the world, I mean, you take it from the pea for so long, and although Israelis are just eating the flesh for more than 100 years. Anyway, of course these are not, but I mean, of course these are not eggs, and of course the worms did not, like, baka, like, get good out of the egg. These are robots that created the worms, and it's easy for them to create worms because this is the easiest, like, non-microscopic life form, and also the easiest microscopic life form that they create, by the way. You can see billion worms in the hundreds of hours of microscopy that in this channel. But also in the non-microscopic level, it is the easiest life form. They can create it from about anything, like, and it's so easy for them. And this was demonstrated so many times. So no, I mean, it's not that, I mean, I thought to myself, it's not funny. I mean, this might be like a psychological terror. I mean, to think that you have like eggs, that your eggs, I mean, harbor like disgusting snakes. I mean, it's, so first of all, it's completely stupid and non-true. But I mean, another example of like the psychological terror that the Titan females are like subjected to, both by the Israelis and by the like cooperators abroad for so long. And so, really, I'm really sorry about it, because I think that even evil people do not deserve this kind of like punishment, to be subjected to such a psychological terror, and to listen to such lies about their nature. Of course, these robots can create not only worms, but worms are the easiest thing for them to create, and almost from any material. But you've seen the yellow ones create things much more complicated than worms. For example, the demonic fly. That again, I mean, I understand that people are very like excited about it. So what I decided is to keep, I mean, to use my Crucible experiments. But as I said, the problem is that, I mean, so the original method of using oil and turpentine is fine, but it burns very shortly, and also it stinks a lot. And the other method that I try with the small charcoals, hookah charcoals, so they burn much more time, like even for like 6 or 7 or 8 hours, but the smell is unbearable. It's disgusting smell. So what I need to do is actually to use a chimney, and I've actually created a chimney from 2 paintings that I have that were painted on paper. I mean, I don't have many paintings that I painted on papers. I almost always use canvas. But I have a few on paper, so I use a chimney. The problem is that, first of all, it's not high enough, so still smoke. I mean, enter both like the window and the closed window, and also the hose of the mobile air condition, and this is disgusting. And second, it only makes the smoke. The paintings are with oil and acrylic, and when they are heated, it creates paint oil is mostly linseed oil. Like most of the material of paint oil is linseed oil. So, and when linseed oil burns, I know it from experiment, because I've actually had lot here. But I mean, in my mother's apartment, I've had several experiments with the burning of linseed oil and mirrors. As I said, these kind of like the Crucible experiments are not the first time that I use fire experiments, but all the previous experiments were aimed not on energizing the neurons, something that I tried and failed and just abandoned because of like preliminary failures, but to enrich fuels, which was a very interesting thing that I've done, and I don't do it now because I don't have a place for that. And this kind, you need this better that be done outside and or at least in a large balcony, and it's not nice. It creates huge fires. It's like rocket fuel. And this is also documented in this channel. So if I'll be able to the arrest will stop. If I will not be arrested, I will be able to, or at least I will have. Anyway, if I have the ability to do it on the beach, it's best to be done on the beach or or in the desert or something like that, because it creates huge fire and it's kind of dangerous, and so I have experience with linseed oil, and it stinks like shit. So I will probably need a bigger and higher chimney and made of another material in order to keep using the charcoals, because the charcoals they create a ton of smoke, even though they burn for very long. But in any case, I need to find a way to use the Crucible, because I do want to continue, and especially I want to try to create more advanced life forms, aliens or not, I don't know, but advanced life form. Some people actually suggest, and this is a very nice thought that I didn't think about at all. Some people suggest that some of the organisms that we see in the various microscopic videos, are actually not microbes that exist on Earth, but also not alien microbes, and also not new microbes that were engineered by the Neros. So you ask, so what other option exists? If they do not live on the face of the Earth, and they are not aliens, and they are not new creations of engineered creation of the Neros, what can they be? So presumably there is a fourth option that I didn't think about actually, but some people suggested that in the comments, which is very interesting and original. I have no way to prove or disprove it, but theoretically it's interesting. So there is a fourth option that these are Earth microbes that do not live in Earth, but maybe they lived on Earth maybe 100 million years ago. And maybe maybe the Neros, they remember this from, who said they didn't visit the Earth 100 million years ago? For certainly they visited Earth long ago because of the gates, and the gates are for certain creation of the Neros. And I've said it several times, but I didn't supply explanation. Maybe I'll dedicate another video, especially for this, because I never explained how do I know that? How did I came to this conclusion? But yes, I have several very strong. I'm certain it's not a theory. I'm certain the gates were created by the Neros. So maybe I will dedicate another explanation for a video just for this issue. So, and that they are ancient. So, maybe they remember these kind of microbes from 100 million years ago from Earth, and maybe they still have fossils of these microbes. So, it's kind of an interesting theory. I have no way to prove or disprove it, but it's interesting. So, but what I want to create are not specifically microbes, and not ancient microbes or alien microbes, but life forms, or more of the demonic flight that you've seen, because these prove to be very popular. The biggest problem with them is that if they will when they are ready, maybe they just fly away. So I don't really have a good way to, besides this kind of chimney, but I don't think that it can stop a small fly. Anyway, I've added new material to the mixture. You see chicken bones and pasta. So this is, and of course more oil. So and some skin, some chicken skin. So the idea, I keep it here for a couple of days, so it's getting rotten, but it's not a big deal, because we already know that the Neros like germs very much, they like to eat it. So I'm not afraid of contaminating the mixture, as I was. Initially in the first couple of months of this kind of experiment, I was very afraid of contaminating the various mixtures and containers with biological life forms. But after some time I understood that this is their favorite snake, snake, the favorite fun food, that actually the biological germs are the things that the Neros like to eat. they feed on them very happily. So when I understood that, I'm now I'm fine with keeping the mixture to rot for some time before I burn it. But maybe I start the fire today. And the idea of adding the bones are, they are looming above, as you've seen. So they represent one of the problems with the Crucible, I've said it several times, is it's difficult to add the symbols, because the symbol should be above the container or looming above, which means on the side, but high above. And it's difficult with the Crucible much more than with the electrolysis, because of the fire, of course, that it burns the symbols. But it was also a problem with the electrolysis chamber, and I've spoken about quite a bit in the past, because of water condensation and all sorts of things like that. Anyway, the idea of this kind of it's starting to look just like a real crucible, like hell. So the idea with this kind of hell crucible, it's already pretty much looks like crucible from hell. Actually, you don't need to add much, but I've added a little bit of both symbolic features and also skin and bones of chicken. So it's really starting to look like a crucible from hell, and I'm fine with that. So hopefully we will be able, with a better chimney, that I need to engineer from something that I don't know what, like something that I'll probably find in the trash. I'll search for something. So the idea is to create a chimney, so I'll be able to produce fires that are like not too like what I want is like slow cooking, like I mean not that high temperature but long burning time, and but with ton amount of not too much smoke, and that is, the smoke will not enter my room. So that's the objective, and I try to engineer a solution, and then we'll be able to perhaps create animals that are more of more interesting, like with bones, not just worms, but more like the flies that there are actually more than one. There are something like 4, I mean, that you have already seen, like the demonic flies, and maybe, who knows, maybe other insects, like beetles and you know, vertebrates. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to go, like, of course, I mean, we are far. I mean, we're still very far away from even like starting to speak about mammals. But I mean, you know, on like, you know, on the like, it's we all understand that it's on the horizon, like, you know, Hellboy. So, but it probably wouldn't be able to. I mean, not in this apartment, of course. I mean, you know, for a proper Hellboy, you will probably need like a huge crucible and do it outside, like on the, like, you know, and you know, with the safety measures, like, I mean, you know, like water and like, or even better than water, all sort of like, I mean, you know, gases to that extinguish fire and but yes, of course, I mean, you do understand that, I mean, the logical trajectory of this kind of experiments. But I think that we are still far away from even speaking about mammals, let alone primates, you know. But yes, I mean, beetles, flies. Beetles are actually better than flies because I will be able to perhaps catch them when they are starting to move. The fly, I mean, flies can mostly be like, I mean, caught when they are not ready yet. I mean, I don't have any, like, I can't think of a way of how to catch it when it starts to fly. Anyway, that's the agenda for today. Hopefully it will be interesting. And thanks for the scientific comments. I really appreciate, you know, I don't have ego that prevents me from listening to advices, especially with regards to science. And I acknowledge the fact that I'm not a scientist at all, and I don't have any background in scientists besides, you know, Bachelor of Science in computer sciences, but they are very abstract, and I mean, there is nothing in it that even remotely touches the natural sciences, unfortunately. So science will be open, you know, and freely discussed and peer-reviewed. And I wish it was possible that, I mean, everyone in this world would have known about this kind of research. I mean, I have nothing in my agenda ever even remotely suggested that I keep secrets from anyone, not at all. On the contrary. The problem is that, I mean, I'm forced to be to live in secrecy, but this is part of the Nazi jail, the Nazi prison that I'm forced to live in. I pray every day to be rescued from this Nazi hell.